The Transform Autism Education project that ran from 2014 to 2017. We were part of the first tranche of funding, if I remember correctly. We had 6 partner organisations involved in the project, and they were practitioner organisations, a local authority, universities and charities. So it was a real mix of people working together. And the main aim of that project was to adapt and develop the Autism Education Trust professional development programme for Greece and Italy, drawing upon underpinning research.
We've used the Autism Education Trust programme since 2011, and that's now the basis of our model of service delivery in all schools. Karen was interested in trying to capture our learning and experience of using that because she wanted to replicate the programme in both Greece and Italy. Our role was really to share the sort of hands-on, the practical aspects of taking it on board and how we developed it and the impact that it had.
We had a 3-year project. We developed 3 tiers of training in Italy, 4 tiers of training in Greece. We developed a national standards, set of national standards and guidelines for practitioners, and we also created a website where practitioners could download materials. And the Greek team delivered training to over 100 schools and over 2,000 people, and the Italian team similarly have developed and delivered the training to lots of people in the Monza and Brianza region of Italy. The thing that inspired this project was really that we want to make a difference to autistic children and young people, and we think that the best way to make a real difference in their lives is if teachers and practitioners in schools and therapeutic centres understand autism and understand how autism might impact on the individual, but also understand how they can adapt their own classroom practice to meet the needs of autistic pupils. The people that we worked with in Greece who went out and delivered the training said to us that it transformed the whole way that they thought about autism, because autism was often presented in Greece as a tragedy, as something terrible, and they started thinking about autism in a different way, autism as a difference rather than as a disability. And part of what all of this project was about was to get people to see that it's not about just trying to change the person with autism, it's about understanding that we can provide a much more enabling environment for the person with autism if we change the way we communicate, if we change the way we structure our classrooms. A really important part of what we did was we had school visits in all 3 countries, which all the teams were involved in. And the Italian, the Greek and the UK based teams all felt that they learned a tremendous amount from understanding the school context and understanding inclusion in Greece, inclusion in Italy and inclusion in the UK. And the UK teachers said that they felt that they learned a lot from both having Italian and Greek people come and visit them and ask them questions that made them really think about their practice, but also they learned a lot from going into schools.
Certainly in Greece, the financial situation is very challenging. And so the Greek head teacher was saying to us, I've got no money until the end of term, and sort of pulled a €10 note out of his pocket. This was all he had. But actually, the work that they were doing was incredible, and it was all being driven through by his commitment to actually making a difference. I think this is where you felt the value of having a training programme that he could use with his staff. You really felt that this was so necessary, and it helped you to sort of recognise the value of this kind of a project.
It was absolutely crucial for us to bring autistic individuals into the project, because our view is that if you don't understand the world from the perspective of autistic people, you can't really begin to develop good practice. And we think that's crucial for teachers. They need to understand that we mustn't always look at autism from the outside and in. We were very fortunate in that we had Damien Milton, who's autistic, who was our consultant on the project over here in the UK. He's autistic himself. He's a parent of a child with autism, and he's also a teacher and a researcher. He was absolutely instrumental in enabling us to involve autistic participants in Greece and Italy.
That has marked out the Autism Education Trust training programme in the UK, as it was the first one who actually sought the views of autistic adults in the development of it. This has remained a constant feature, so it's the voice of the child or the young person or the adult that comes through in the training materials.
Yeah.
And I think that message, which was taken forward into the development of the resources in Greece and Italy, has been key, absolutely key.
We can easily get into the position where we just assume that things are the way they are, or we make assumptions about how things should change. I feel that working internationally has really broadened not just my horizon, but everybody who was involved in the projects. Broaden our horizons. It's made us really try to understand different contexts, and that inclusion can look very different in different countries, and that you really need to understand the context before you could really understand how you can change people's mindsets and how you can change people's practice. I mean, really, essentially, the project is about inclusion. It was very important for us to understand where things were at in Greece, where things were at in Italy, where things are at in England, to really start thinking about how you address and enable more inclusive practices. And so all the training materials, everything that we've created was about inclusive practice. We've got lots of evidence of teaching practices changing in a number of different ways. The key difference is that teachers in schools in Greece, Italy and here in England are taking into account the perspective of autistic pupils much more, and really trying to understand the individual and how they might be experiencing the world, rather than always just looking at the behaviours. In Areally school, for example, we saw teachers being much more careful about thinking about how they're communicating with children in the classroom. The teacher said she's really changed the way she communicated, in that she was reducing her language and not using so much language, whilst at the same time using visual symbols to communicate to the child what was happening at different times of the day. And she said she talked about how that made a real difference to this particular child in the classroom, because before he probably had felt that there was just such a wealth of sounds coming at him, he hadn't been able to concentrate on the instructions. Because she really adapted the way she communicated with him, he was able to understand much better what was happening and what she was wanting him to do.
I think what we face, certainly in Birmingham, is issues around school funding and staff not always in a position to access training courses because of having to get their classes covered, or because there just isn't enough money in the budget. And I think what we have tried to do is think of ways of actually getting our training out. So we do have quite a lot of training that we would offer free. We have regular network opportunities, so we kind of have that focus of getting as much training and information out to our schools as we can. And we work with them at a strategic level to do that. So we're not just working with individual children, but we're using the Autism Education Trust frameworks so that schools can improve at a whole school and a whole setting level. So that the change is there in terms of the culture and ethos.
What they developed was something called the All About Me tool, which is a way in which autistic pupils and their families and their teachers can all input information into basically a kind of pupil passport, if you like, about the individual pupil. And that All About Me tool is now being used in every single school in Birmingham. We have been able to make an impact through bringing our different partner organisations together, and the real impact has been on practice in classrooms changing, and therefore the reality hopefully for the lives of autistic pupils being better. I think my top tip for anyone starting an Erasmus Plus journey is define what you want to do and why you want to do it. Have a passion for what you want to do, and then make the most of the activities where you can bring people together. I think it's through bringing two people together, having dialogue, sharing practices with one another, sharing knowledge with one another. Create as many opportunities for that as you possibly can, and engage with your local communities in the process.